2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Let me tell you, the response to the show has been absolutely amazing. People can't believe that a young conservative millennial continues to fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and talks about issues that some are even afraid to talk about. But we do it because we understand the importance of this. And now we're seeing it absolutely blow up all across the nation.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
You are darn right. It's the Voice of Reason. It is a Tuesday, the post-Monday celebration. I hope you're having a wonderful week, getting ready for the festive holidays coming up here in just a couple of days. Welcome into the show. Thanks for hanging out with us today, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship station all over the country, on radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. Doesn't matter where you're at, watching or listening. We appreciate you more than you can imagine each and every day. I have to admit, I feel guilty about something. I need to confess to you, and it's weird. I need to confess because I feel really guilty, especially during the holiday season, but it's just a messed up system already. So I want to get to that here in just a second. Hopefully everybody got to enjoy the Christmas star, the Bethlehem star that was yesterday. I got home a little bit later. It was right about 9 o'clock, so it was way past sunset, where they said it was going to happen right after sunset for after about a half hour. And I got home about 9 o'clock last night. It was already dark because nowadays with wintertime, it gets dark at like 6 in the afternoon. So I get off the air. It starts to get dark. I had to run some errands, do some things. I get home. It's like 9 o'clock at night. And a little Voice of Reason is about ready to go outside and start looking for the star. They said they found it a little bit earlier, and they wanted to see it. And I had yet to see it. I was looking around while I was driving, but a very difficult thing to do, and I was going the wrong direction. But I get home, and we walk out there, and I see it. And it's really cool. I don't know if you got to see it or not last night, but it was relatively bright. But what I found fascinating was that it was flickering different colors. In fact, it was flickering red and blue. I thought that was kind of neat. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but it was flickering some different colors just a little bit because of, obviously, the different colors from the planets that were bouncing off of our atmosphere and the different colors and whatever, all the science that goes behind that. But it was flickering red, white, and blue because obviously the star's white and then the red and blue that were kind of flickering in there. So it was an American Christmas star. I don't care what anybody else says. It was a patriotic star that says that we're going to be all right this year. What do you think? Yeah, see? I like that. So that was pretty neat. But I have to admit, I feel guilty about something yesterday. We were running around, and one of the things I had to do is we had to go and return. We had to return some extra boxes of candy that we had because for stockings and for certain things that we're doing for the holidays, and we got too many candy canes. So, all right, the different candy canes that hang on the tree, which, by the way, did you know that they have really cool flavored candy canes? I was not aware that they had nerd-flavored candy canes. I was not aware that they had Jolly Rancher-flavored candy canes. I was not aware that they had gummy bear-flavored candy canes. I know. So I was excited. So when I bought them a few weeks ago, I was totally thrilled. I loaded up on a whole bunch of them because I was super excited about it. I got home, we did the whole thing, and I got like way too many. Mrs. Voice Reasons, like, Andy, you really only needed to get like one box. You did not need to get 5 boxes of candy canes. But I was like, aren't they cool? And so I was excited. But we packed about 3 or 4 of them, and she's like, all right, go ahead and return those back to Walmart, which, yes, I did go to Walmart. That was the first time I've been into Walmart in a long time because I'm not a big fan, personally, of the Walmart. I mean, kudos to capitalism, but I kind of like to shop local when I get a chance to. One of the days I was running home, grabbed it. I go in there and I say, all right, here you go. I handed her the bag, and there's like a little thing of, the sweet tarts in there, and then a bag of the Jolly Rancher candy canes in there, and the Nerd candy canes. And I said, I just need to return these. Unopened, they're completely sealed up and everything. She goes, okay, that's not a problem. By the way, I don't know if you're aware or not, but we have to throw these away. And I said, what? What? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you have to she said, we have to throw them away. Any kind of food that's returned, we have to throw away. And I said, ma'am, they're unopened. The package is completely sealed. It's not been tampered with. We didn't do anything to it, obviously. It's completely sealed as if we never even touched it. She's like, it doesn't matter. We have to throw it away. Do you still want to do it? I was caught off guard. Now, what I should have said was, no, give me the daggone candy canes back. I'll go give them to a family, or I'll go give them to a little kid on the street or something, because it's Christmas time and a Christmas cheer. But instead, she's like, do you want your $14 back? And I guess, because I'm not going to use them. And I took the cash. So now we have a completely unopened package of candy canes being thrown away for no reason other than the corporation doesn't want to resell candy cane boxes that aren't opened because it's food. What a waste, man. No wonder why our dumpster and our garbage piles are piling up all over the place, and why so much garbage is going to waste that could be utilized. I felt guilty. As soon as I left, I was so shocked that that's the stupid thing that they were doing, that I didn't even think of, you know what, give me the candy canes back. I don't need my $10. It wasn't that big of a deal. I don't need my $10 back. I will find somebody to give this to, because we're not going to use it. I will find someone to hand it off to and say, Merry Christmas. Here's some candy canes. Here's some Nerd candy canes because they're flipping awesome. But no, I said, I want my $10. So I feel really guilty. I feel really bad, but I was taken aback. Did you know this was going on? Well, if it's food and it's returned, then we got to throw it away. It's unopened, and it's a candy bar. It's not like it's going to go to waste. I'm going to see fungus growing on it. Come on, man. I don't know. It really bothered me yesterday. So that was my guilty thing. I feel really bad. So what I did do is I took the $10 and I put it in the little bucket with the Santa Claus jingling outside for the Salvation Army. So I did do that. I guess it was a good deed, but I just feel I could have taken it instead of having it being thrown away. I went and I could have given it to somebody to say, here, Merry Christmas. Here's a box of candy canes that are Nerd flavored. I know. So that's my story. I feel very guilty about it yesterday, and it bothered me all day, and I couldn't wait to kind of get that off my chest today, because why would you throw away a completely perfect pack of candy canes just because it's food, and because your policy as a store is we're just going to throw it away whether it's even opened or unopened? I mean, I get it if it's like half open and you're like, I don't want it. Usually they wouldn't even take it back. But if it's a candy cane and it's in the Christmas season, obviously people are going to be buying it, and come on. Absolutely ridiculous. We got a lot to get to today. Dan Ferris, he is the host of the Stansberry Investor Hour podcast. He's also the editor for Extreme Value. He's going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour in just about 20 to 15 minutes or so to talk about some of the markets for 2021, doing a little prediction for what the market's going to look like next year. Also, potentially what the change could look like from a Trump administration to a potential Joe Biden administration. So we'll talk about that with him, about some of the markets, the economy, and how we can recover from this COVID-19 garbage here in just a little bit. The other big news today, of course, is that we have the COVID-19 relief bill that has been passed by both chambers of Congress. We are awaiting President Donald Trump to do something with it. I don't know whether he's going to veto or sign it. More than likely, he's going to sign it. He's still trying to be in somewhat favor of the public right now as he goes through these investigations of the election fraud that is ongoing. But the right side of the aisle really advocating him to many aspects to veto this bill because it's a garbage bill. $900 billion, and a lot of it's going towards other countries, which makes no sense. A lot of it's going towards stupid programs. Oh, we're going to go to the JFK library. Why would you spend a COVID-19 relief bill where people are desperate to get money to spend millions of dollars on a library or on studies for gender identity studies? Oh, yes, gender identity studies in Pakistan is part of the COVID-19 relief bill that we signed yesterday, whenever it was, yesterday with the House and the Senate. So we'll talk about some of the details of the bill and get your thoughts. Should Donald Trump veto the bill, or should he sign this one, $900 billion? Now, what it does include is it includes the $600 per individual for anyone making $75,000 or less, and $600 per dependent that you can have coming to you as well. It does have a little bit of small business relief in there. It has more money for vaccine distribution, which that's cute. It has, here's the thing. I'm to the point now, if we have the vaccine outgoing, why are we doing a relief bill? If the vaccine is outgoing, why can't we just open things up and just say, get back to work, open up the economy? You don't need a relief anymore because we can just let you start doing your thing and you can start getting back to work, opening your shops again, and actually making some money. It seems like a good concept to me, but apparently not. So we need to spend more money. And by the way, it's not just like, here's a nice little gift for you, Merry Christmas, here's the government giving you some money to help you out. This affects your taxes. If you usually get a tax return next year, you're not going to. You are borrowing against your tax return. So if you usually don't get a tax return, you're probably going to owe money next year. I'm just throwing that out there. No money is for free, especially from the federal government. And while this seems all nice to help you get back on your feet, they're going to completely come after you this next tax season. So we have that issue as well. I want to get a tax expert on to talk about some of that, but we'll get into that, the weeds of this bill here in just a minute. One person that voted against it, and kudos to her, I'm ready for her to come over to the Republican Party. The arms are wide open. Come on over. We are more than welcoming for you because you are not part of the average Democrat in today's times. Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii, she made a little Facebook Live video yesterday after the vote where she voted no against the bill, and this is what she had to say.
First of all, this bill was over 5,500 pages long. We received the text of this bill at approximately 2:30 this afternoon, and we're told we'd have to go and vote on it just a few hours later. There is no way that anybody in Congress had the opportunity or the time to go through and read this bill to know exactly what was in it. I've been here long enough to see how provisions are snuck into these bills literally in the dark of night without any announcement, without telling anyone what is in it, and then rushed through in the manner that we have just seen tonight. This is the height of irresponsibility, and it is absolutely no way for the people's representatives to be able to represent the interests of the American people. The second thing is the central part of this bill was supposed to be about providing direct COVID relief to the American people who are struggling and who need help the most. This bill dished out hundreds of billions of dollars going towards special interests, going towards the military-industrial complex, going towards foreign countries, meanwhile saying, here's what's left for you. You get $600. I'll tell you, in Hawaii, that in most cases won't even cover 25% of your rent. It is an insult and a slap in the face to every single American in this country who is struggling because of this COVID pandemic, who is concerned about not being able to pay the rent, about eviction, about whether you'll have enough to buy groceries or medicine for yourself or your loved ones. This bill is a representation of the screwed up priorities of Washington. They should be fighting for you and making sure that you, the American people, come first. This bill did not do that.
No, it did not do that. And that's why Tulsi Gabbard, along with many other individuals, voted against this bill. And it passed with a very large majority in both the House and the Senate because they wanted to ram it through. I'm starting to realize that as Donald Trump, they think, is on the way out right now as he's trying to battle the whole investigation thing, that they want to go back to normal procedure. They want to go back to the establishment way. They want to go back to the same old of what they were doing prior to Donald Trump, where the elites handled things. There's just a little bit of a difference between a Republican and a Democrat George W. Bush may be a Republican, but we still spend on Republican government programs. While a Democrat's in office, we still spend on Democrat government programs. But there's really no change. We just grow the size of government. We grow the size of the establishment. We grow the size of the departments and the agencies. We grow the size of the special interests. We just pay off whatever we want to. And then we give a little bit to the people just to make them happy and feel like that's what it's all about. And then we go on the talking heads with the media and we debate about that little bitty 5% section that it does affect the American people. And we just make it think it's a big grand deal. And we keep everybody distracted from everything else that's actually going on. That's the norm of Washington, D.C., and people are tired of that. People don't want to see that anymore. The people are awake now, thanks to Donald Trump and the populist movement saying, wait a second, you're not properly treating us right, and you're not taking care of us the right way, as in getting the hell out of our way, not spending money on foreign governments, not properly funding our programs that we do actually need, and just letting us do our thing. We're awake, and they think they're just going to go back to their same old, and guess what? It ain't going to fly.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe to any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the Voice of Reason. It is a Tuesday, the post-Monday celebration, your greatest day of the entire week. Welcome into the show. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, wherever you may be. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time. I'm getting some messages, a lot of messages actually. Andy, Tulsi Gabbard's not a conservative. I can't stand Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi's a warmonger. I'll pass. Look, Tulsi Gabbard's a progressive in some forms, but compared to other Democrats, I would take Tulsi Gabbard over any other Democrat today. Honestly. And she has some conservative beliefs to her. She's kind of more middle of the road than she plays off. She tries to play more of a progressive fringe, but she's really not. And don't get me wrong. She has some very progressive values to her. She's all about more social programs. She's all about a standard government income, a basic government universal base income that she's advocated for. She wants more social programs. So I don't agree with her in any way, shape, or form on any of that stuff, and that's okay. At the same time, I would take her over any other Democrat right now. I was a fan of hers compared to any other Democrat on the presidential stage. If we had to choose a candidate from that stage, it would have been her. And I still think that she would be more favorable to working with Republicans than she would with Democrats right now, because number one, she's not as dumb as other individuals in the Democrat Party right now.
I am told this is a garbage disposal.
Number two, she actually has some bills that are upsetting the Democrats majorly. One, according to Bongino.com, Democrat Tulsi Gabbard introduces a bill that would ban biological men from playing within women's sports. Because, all you got to do is just identify as a woman, and then you can play in women's sports. Then you can beat them at their own game. You can break their records as a quote-unquote woman. But she says, our legislation protects Title IX's original intent, which was based on the general biological distinction between men and women athletes based on sex. It's critical that this legacy of Title IX continues to ensure women and girls in sports have the opportunity to compete and excel on a level playing field. Totally agree with that. Second off, here's one from Fox News. Tulsi Gabbard getting slammed from leftover bill protecting abortion survivors. She's facing a wave of backlash from the left after she introduced legislation designed to ensure infants receive proper medical care after surviving abortions, which I know that she's been more conservative on abortion issues than others as well. So don't get me wrong, she's still progressive, but she's more of a reasonable progressive or a reasonable Democrat. One of the last few ones where we can actually have a semi-conversation with her, and she upsets the Democrats as much as she upsets Republicans. And the fact that she called out, you got to give her credit. During the presidential during the presidential runs, that she called out Hillary Clinton on the debate stage and said that she's a warmonger. I know! She called out the bread and butter elitist control monger of the Democrat Party and called her out to the point to where, if you remember, Hillary Clinton tried to say that Tulsi Gabbard was a Russian agent. Oh, yeah. Apparently, whenever you disagree with a Democrat or you disagree with Hillary Clinton, then you're all of a sudden by a Russian troll and a Russian agent. Oh, yeah. You can't disagree with me, and if you do, then you hate America and you just love Russians. Now, just because they sold a bunch of, whatever, it doesn't really matter. The Clinton Foundation that sold uranium to the Russians, and they speak over there and make a whole bunch of money, and the Clinton Foundation, that's garbage as well. So it doesn't matter. They try to project and just, go after everybody that disagrees with them. But the fact that Tulsi Gabbard did call them out, I got to give her credit. Got to give her credit for that. So, no, I don't agree with everything on Tulsi Gabbard, but I think that she is... first off, she has fought for her country very much so, and a veteran. She did freeze her campaign for president to go and do her tour, her 2 weeks on National Guard or whatever down in Hawaii. So that was cool, and I give her credit for that. And she's relatively more conservative than most Democrats nowadays, so I got to give her credit for that. I still think one of these days she is going to flip parties and come to the Republican side, or maybe even go to the Libertarian side of it as well. Either way, she doesn't fit in with the Democrats unless that's her goal, is to try and revamp the Democrat Party from within. And if she does, to a point. I got to give her credit for that. So kudos to her. No, I don't agree with her on a lot of things, but she does do a lot of good as well, and we can find the things we do agree on to try and work together to beat out the crazy fringe, garbage disposal hating Democrats, if you know what I mean. Dan Ferris coming on the show after bottom of the hour. Stay here on The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with The Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out today. It is a Tuesday, the post-Monday celebration. Of course, on this shorter week, probably many of you traveling and heading off to family and friends. How dare you with the COVID? How dare you? You're going to kill everybody. You know, like showing your face in public and letting people breathe in your breath. Welcome back into the show. Your millennial general reporting for duty, trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag, trying to rebrand that millennial generation one radio listener at a time. We are all over the country on radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. So much going on and yet such little time to do it. We try and keep it somewhat lighthearted during the holidays. At the same time, there's a lot of stuff I want to get to, including our next guest, which I'm excited to have on the program. So as we go into January and we see a potential, it's not confirmed yet, but a potential Joe Biden administration in January, what could the economy look like? Will we see the V-shaped recovery that Trump has seen when it comes to COVID-19 recovery? Will we see the stock market continuously break records, or will we see it go back to the mundane? We're already, at least in my opinion, this COVID-19 relief, this $1.4 trillion spending package until September, I mean, they just don't care anymore. They're trying to say, well, thanks, Trump, you're out. We were just going to want to go back to our nice, cozy ways of Washington, D.C. We're just going to spend on all of our little pet projects. We're just going to do everything that we want to do that we used to do before you had to come in and, like, ruin it and expose us for spending money in foreign countries and on, gender identity studies in Pakistan. Just fun stuff. We just want to do that again, just to make all of our constituents happy. What's it going to look like when it comes to spending, devaluing the dollar, the stock market? How's 2021 going to look, not just with COVID, but with a change in administration? I'm excited to have on the program. He's the editor of Extreme Value. He's also the host of the Stansberry Investor Hour podcast. You can find him online at stansberryresearch.com. It's Dan Ferris hanging out with us here. Dan, how are you, my friend?
Hey, how you doing? Good to be here.
Hey, good to have you on the program. I appreciate you very much. It's definitely a different, interesting time with 2020 that we just lump everything into. Well, it's 2020 this year. It's okay. But we have 2021 going on. We have the stock market that's currently breaking records. We have the COVID relief that we're trying to regain, but then we could see a potential change in administration. Are we going to continue to see the record shattering, the V-shaped recovery, or are we going to start seeing things plateau come 2021, do you think?
Fortunately, my whole viewpoint is not wrapped up in predicting any of that. So I think the big mistake a lot of people are making right now, and this is kind of my consistent message lately, is to try to pay too much attention to who's in the White House and try to guess what they're going to do and then base real investment decisions on that. I'm as concerned about it as anybody, as a citizen, as a human being, but you have to work hard to sort of keep that separate from what you do with real money in the stock market and elsewhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to prepare for things, but don't predict. If you base your strategy on prediction, you're going to make a lot more mistakes and lose money Whereas if you base it on real, true diversification and preparation for a variety of scenarios, you'll do a lot better. And you should prepare for a great variety right now. As elevated as stock and bond markets are today, you need to prepare for a lot of volatility in the coming year.
That is very true, and diversifying is always the best way. And that's what I'm hearing from everybody right now is diversify, diversify, diversify. So that way, no matter what happens with whatever may jump or fall, that you're going to be covered in some way, shape, or form. As we go into that and you look at diversifying, what are some of the markets, what are some of the stocks that we should maybe pay a special attention to? Is it still the electronic things with COVID, with some of the virtual stuff and some of the online shopping, some of the online stocks? Is it? Do you think it's going to go back to some of the more traditional things? What should be on the lookout for 2021?
Well, right now we are not finding a whole lot of great deals in stocks because they're super, super duper expensive. But we're also not trying to, we're not trying to second guess what people are going to be doing for a living in 6 months. We just want to be invested in things that people always use. For example, this year we covered Constellation Brands, the beer and wine company. 85% of their sales were what they call off-premises, not in bars and restaurants. And we figured, well, a substantial portion of that other 15% is going to migrate, into your home anyway. So that turned out to be a great bet. And I think it'll continue to be. People are going to drink their alcoholic beverages, their beer and wine, no matter what, whether it's at home, whether they go out, it doesn't matter. So that's a good one.
Well, I would say, let's stop right there for just a second. I would say that it maybe even went up a little bit. Like you said, I mean, with people not going to the bars, really, or nightclubs, I know so many people that are just stocking up at home. Myself, I mean, I'm trying to build my home bar at my house, which means I'm going to a liquor store that's been deemed as an essential business and buying more bottles of liquor so I can bring home and stock it up on my own shelves at home. So I guess it's still being bought, just kind of bought in different ways, isn't it?
Exactly. The volumes are moving. They're just moving to different places.
Yeah, I like that. What else? What's some of the other ones to look forward to?
Let's see. Well, we covered a bunch of things that are sort of in that same general category this year. One of them was waste management, the waste hauling company. I mean, whatever we do, we're going to generate a ton of garbage, and that's not going to change. That's just a feature of the modern world, and it's also a feature that we're really paranoid about it, being handled in the right way. So it's always going to be this essential kind of feature of the way we live. Starbucks. We covered Starbucks actually a couple of years ago and sort of noted it again this year, and because people were afraid, you can't go out and get your Starbucks. But I don't know if you've tried to drive through one of those places lately. People are just still dying to pay, $5 for that cup of coffee. And the world will probably return to some kind of a normalcy at some point. And that'll become an even better bet. And, other things like Dollar General, we covered that. We thought, that's an essential business, right? You can go out and go to the nearest grocery store, convenience store. And, other things similar to that. I guess Brown & Brown is an insurance broker. People aren't going to stop buying insurance. Yeah. That kind of stuff. Stuff that just never goes away. It's a permanent feature of modern life.
I like that. Let's talk about some of the new ones that have kind of popped up on there. I remember seeing the news a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, or a month ago, whenever it was, with Tesla going public, and it shot up a lot bigger than what anybody expected. The value of it jumped up higher, and it's huge now. It's all over the place. Is that something to maybe look at if you have the cash to get into something like Tesla, or do you think it's kind of a short-lived thing?
Well, look, Tesla is hardly making any cars, making a few 100,000 cars compared to like Toyota making 10 million.
Yeah.
And it's relatively early stage, unproven, highly capital intensive industry. And even if a car company is successful, it's a low margin, highly competitive industry. And just the fact that Elon Musk runs it doesn't mean anything to me. I think a lot of people, he's like their hero, so they bid the stock up, and now it has a market cap of $600 billion, which is truly insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Toyota makes something like 20 or 25 times as many cars in a year, and the market cap is a third. And they actually know how to make money. They pay a dividend.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. Tesla is really, really crazy to me right now. I don't get it at all.
No, it's definitely something that's kind of fun to watch. I don't know if I would jump on board with trying to buy any of their stocks, but it's really wild to kind of see, because you're right. I mean, I'm a fan of kind of what Elon Musk does and all the crazy ventures that he goes out on, trying to put people on Mars with the SpaceX program, trying to put the microchips in. I mean, he's on to some fascinating things, and he could utilize that to maybe make Tesla even better. But you're right, with such a low turnout of vehicles compared to other car companies, it's wild to see their value skyrocket the way it has.
Yeah, it's a brand new product. We're just, there's so many uncertainties about it. It's too early. They don't make any money. It's just a bad bet.
Yeah.
It's a highly speculative endeavor right now. But you're right. Musk is really good at handling these rather large, intensive, capital-intensive, time-intensive kind of technical projects, and you have to admire him for that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to buy this crazy valuation of his company.
Exactly. We're talking with Dan Ferris, editor of Extreme Value, also a host of the podcast Stansberry Investor Hour. Let's talk about some of the technology going into 2021 on the market as well. I see that Apple kind of bounces up and down. The new iPhone that was released, which I don't even remember what iPhone I have, the XS Max, I think, or something, but they keep coming out with, a new iPhone every couple of years. I don't know what changes or how it's any better than the previous version of it, but I heard that it kind of flopped this year with the new iPhone release just because not as many people are buying it. Maybe it didn't have as many new features or something. I don't know. But is that still a steady one to look into, or is that kind of cautionary because maybe they're starting to run out of ideas?
Well, you can sum this thing up in a couple of data points. The revenue's been going nowhere for a couple of years, and the stock has more than doubled. So, and I mean, maybe there is some world in which that makes a whole lot of sense, but it's not the one where I'm putting real money to work.
Yeah, absolutely. Last go. We got about 30 seconds left before we got to let you go. StansberryResearch.com, InvestorHour.com is the podcast as well. But anything else outside of maybe technology to look into as a potential investment coming up for 2021?
Just be diversified. Have assets inside and outside the financial system. Inside, plenty of cash. By all means, keep your stocks and bonds. Outside, have some gold, have some silver, maybe even think about holding a little Bitcoin.
I like that, gold and silver, and I've been so hesitant on the Bitcoin. Maybe we should get you back on later and talk some more about the Bitcoin because I want to jump on. I'm cautious. So, Dan Ferris, we appreciate the time very much, my friend. Let's do this again real soon. I'd love to talk to you some more about this.
Sounds like a plan.
Hey,
We'd love to do it.
Absolutely appreciate that very much. That's Dan Ferris. You can find him online, StansberryResearch.com. Also the podcast at InvestorHour.com as well. We'll take a break, wrap up the show today. It goes by way too fast here on The Voice of Reason. Lots more coming up. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the show. Thanks for hanging out with us today. One more segment left. It goes way too fast. We are by far the fastest hour of radio on radio. All over the place. Radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. Doesn't matter where you're at. You can always shoot me a message on the social media, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, also on Parler.com and on Minds.com. You can find all of those with our social media handle at Hooser Reason. That is HOOSER Reason. You can also find the website at HooserReason.com, which do go on. You'll see the big pop-up. You can sign up for the newsletter, totally free. We're not going to spam you all the time, and we'll just send you a monthly newsletter talking about the show, talking about the Hooser Media Network. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited about all that stuff as we get into 2021. The beginning of the year is always my favorite because we get to set some really cool New Year's resolutions, and they are going to happen this year because I'm a tenacious little you-know-what, and we're going to make sure that it happens because that's just the way that we roll. You can find the podcast also on any of your favorite podcasting sites with the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser. You just type that in. You can find us on really anything. I mean, Google Play and Spotify and Amazon. We are on Amazon Music and TuneIn and Podbean, and all the other good jazz. So thanks for hanging out as we see our podcast continue to grow. We thank you so much for what you guys do for us each and every day, and we're going to have a heck of a 2021 year. So did you realize the NCAA, or not NCAA, the NAACP, whatever, same thing, both progressive organizations that don't really do a whole lot, they are suing Donald Trump. Now, why would the NAACP be filing a suit against Donald Trump, saying, oh, by the way, not just Donald Trump, but the Republican Party as well, saying that they are violating the KKK Act? Yeah. Where'd that come from? Well, according to them, they are saying that President Donald Trump, along with the Republican Party, is violating the Ku Klux Klan Act for their efforts to overturn the election results in key battleground states. Now, they're not trying to, we got to remember the phrasing here. Words matter. Words matter sometimes. If I can learn to speak of them, then words actually matter. Words matter when you actually go through this stuff, because you need to be aware we're not trying to overturn the election. We are trying to rid voter fraud so we get the legitimate election results and actually show who really won the election, which we know is Donald Trump. Donald Trump got 75 million votes in the election, shattered any record of any presidential candidate prior to. You can't think that the old guy who tripped and fell over his dog and doesn't remember the color red and said that he's going to cure cancer in 10 years and was the VP of Barack Obama, so all of a sudden got 80 million votes when he can't get 20 people to a rally for running for president or trying to go to the runoff election in Georgia. Doesn't work. We know it's a fraud. We know it's a scam. It's common sense, and anybody that believes otherwise is either seriously delusional or just puts on the blinders because they don't want the election results to be overturned. But you got to remember the phraseology, and yes, I made up that word, the phraseology of the media as they try and label this is that Donald Trump lost, and therefore he's trying to overturn it. It's legitimate now. He wants to make it illegitimate so he can overturn it. We're not trying to overturn. We want a legitimate election so that way we can actually, have reasonable elections and make sure our votes count. It's a wild concept, I know. But the NAACP says, of course, they had to turn it to racism. Well, I guess it was only a matter of time. Donald Trump was the racist, so therefore they had to turn it to racism if he's trying to actually fight against the system, saying that the defendants' efforts to disenfranchise hundreds of thousands of voters, targeting cities with large black populations, including Detroit, Michigan, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Atlanta, Georgia, repeat the worst abuses in our nation's history, where black Americans were denied a voice in American democracy for most of their first 2 centuries of the republic. They filed the lawsuit last month on behalf of the Michigan Welfare Rights Organization and a group of black Michigan voters, accusing the Trump campaign of violating the Voter Rights Act and seeking to overturn President-elect Joe Biden's victory. It's all racism. Now, it doesn't matter that the Democrat-run areas are where most of the fraud happened because the Democrats wanted to rig the election for the Democrat benefit. It doesn't work that way. It's just because it's the large cities where the black population is, and therefore he's trying to rig the election and overturn the black voice. Now, if they knew anything and they had any ounce of common sense, they would know that Donald Trump won more black votes in this election than any other Republican in a very long time. But that doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter at all to them, actually. They don't care. He's still a racist. Just because he won more black votes, Hispanic votes, women votes than really any other Republican doesn't matter. He's a racist, he's a sexist, he's a bigot, and he's only trying to silence the black voice because they hate Donald Trump. It's just common sense. And if you don't hate Donald Trump and you're part of those minority groups, then you're an Uncle Tom part of the problem because you just don't understand what your people went through. Not what I'm saying. That's the talking points from the other side of the aisle. Don't you feel all special where you're not allowed to have individual thought? You just need to vote based on your skin color. Wow. But the lawsuit begins, I guess it was only a matter of time until they tried to bring racism into the fact, because that's what they've done for the last 4 years under a Trump administration. Podcast going up a little bit. We're back at it tomorrow, the last live show before Christmas celebration here on the program. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Bring some common sense into the world. Everybody have a wonderful Tuesday evening. This is The Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. See ya on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HoosierReason.com. Again, HoosierReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.